Toto Wolff has opened up about the relationship with Hamilton that's about to expire in 3 races, as it seems like the Austrian is not really sad that the man who's won 6 drivers' championships for him is leaving the team. As a matter of fact, he's playing the victim here, and it would be interesting to see whether the situation would go south very quick once they won't have any obligations towards each other. But with this in mind, was Hamilton in the right to do what he did? And is he going to be successful in Ferrari from day one after the latest information regarding the car testing have been officialized? It's safe to say that the breakup between Hamilton and Mercedes is something that's raised a lot of eyebrows throughout the entire grid, but according to Wolff, it's been something that's been brewing in the background for quite some time, and therefore he expected it to happen sooner rather than later. What the Austrian is angry about is the fact that the choice came at a time where he missed on potential negotiations with drivers like Leclerc and Norris, and when talking about it, Wolff said, "I absolutely had it on my radar that Lewis would go. I just couldn't understand why he'd changed to another team before we knew if we were going to be competitive. It also didn't give me any time to react. I had to emergency call our partners, and I possibly missed out on negotiating with other drivers who had signed contracts a few weeks earlier, like Leclerc and Norris. But I like the situation. It helps us because it avoids the moment where we need to tell the sport's most iconic driver that we want to stop. There's a reason why we only signed a 1+1 year contract. We're in a sport where cognitive sharpness is extremely important, and I believe everyone has a shelf life." However, what Wolff said next might have aggravated the fans of Hamilton a bit more than usual, because he compared it to the football world and to what Sir Alex Ferguson and Pep Guardiola had to go through. When they saw that their top stars were aging, they knew how to bring in junior players that drove the team for the next years. This is also putting a bit of shade on Ferrari in terms of whether or not they pulled the right move to sign Hamilton at the age of 39. Because while he is a 7-time world champion, many have talked about how he's lost the competitive edge, even though he's showing time after time that there's still a lot of fuel left in his tank. In his latest interview, he said that he plans to race longer than Alonso, who is already 5 years older than Hamilton. So we should be looking at a very interesting development of the situation between the 7-time world champion and Ferrari. Not to mention the fact that they have Leclerc, the Prince, who is supposed to be the next world champion with the Maranello team after everything they've gone through from 2019 onwards. And this is one battle that Hamilton might find harder to tackle than usual. While Leclerc praised Ferrari for showing their muscles and signing Hamilton, he stated that the last thing on his mind is to give up without a fight, and that at the end of the day, he's the one with more experience in the team. But there are people out there, renowned one and with rockstar appearance, who believe that Hamilton is washed up and needs to retire while still being on his high, such as Jeremy Clarkson. When talking about the 7-time world champion and comparing it to Verstappen, who's currently in his prime and is dominating the sport, Clarkson said, "We learned 2 important things during last weekend's Grand Prix in Brazil. Well, 3, if you count Lance Stroll, who crashed his freshly repaired car on the formation lap and then drove it into the gravel trap. First of all, Max Verstappen is one of the all-time greats. He may even be the greatest driver we've ever seen. And second, Lewis Hamilton is past his prime. He blamed his car for his tail-end qualifying session, but his teammate George Russell was on the front row. Of course, it's possible that because Lewis is moving to Ferrari next year, the team are filling his fuel tank with lemon barley water instead of petrol. But that seems unlikely. It's far more probable that he's now too old." There is a bit of satire in the comments of Jeremy, but the age is something that's been brought a lot into question when Ferrari have gone on to sign Hamilton, and especially in the first part of the season when Sainz went on to win the Australian GP and to challenge Leclerc frequently. However, the narrative has changed quite quickly, and now it's truly an unknown as to whether or not the Brit will find a new home with the Maranello team, because again, this is a team that served as a home for Leclerc ever since 2019, and it would be interesting to see how the fans would react if Lewis starts dominating over the Monegasque driver. Leclerc himself is very adamant that the 2025 championship will go in favour of his team, and when talking about the project, in which he will enter an intra-team battle with Hamilton, the Monegasque said, "It's all about us, how well we're working as a team and the job we're doing as a team to get to the World Championship. I feel like we're working well. However, it's a relative sport and it all depends on how well the others are doing as well. And they're doing super well for now. So we've got a lot of hard work to do in the next few years, but I believe in the project. I have to believe in the project 100%, and I'm sure that Ferrari is the next team that will be world champion. We've just got to keep working. Christian Horner, on the other hand, believes that the 7-time world champion has chosen the right path in his career and decided to join Ferrari at the perfect time, just when they're becoming competitive and can fight for the championship. We must remember that the same pattern happened with Mercedes back in 2013. He joined them 1 year before the change of the regulations, and from 2014, when the turbo hybrid era was presented on the grid, Hamilton and Mercedes went on to obliterate everyone on the grid, with the only exception being 2016, where Hamilton's teammate won the championship. When talking about this to a greater extent, the team principal of Red Bull said, "Hamilton is obviously coming out of a very comfortable environment, one that he knows very well over the last 10 years, more than 10 years, so that will be a change for him. Leclerc is another very fast driver, but Ferrari is a team that looks like they're picking up momentum. For sure, a driver Lewis's quality is always going to be a challenger. He could be just jumping at the right time. He's obviously seen things that he's chosen to change teams for because he believes in the future of Ferrari, so that's going to be fascinating to see how that plays out." One thing is for sure, if Ferrari continued under the leadership of Binotto, Hamilton would have been part of the team because the Swiss engineer admitted that he wouldn't have pursued the signature of the Brit because the whole project is built around Leclerc and only him. However, we've seen that the leadership of the Maranello team under Binotto was quite flawed, and therefore it's easy to admit that there are tons of things that would have gone wrong had he stayed at control and continued to do what he did. So what we need to focus on the most right now is whether or not Hamilton has made the right decision to switch to Ferrari ahead of 2026. The pattern matches the one he did when he joined Mercedes from McLaren, and back at that time it was even stranger because McLaren were much more competitive than the Silver Arrows, which now goes to show that Horner might be in the right. Hamilton can know something that we don't, and that means he can make the most out of it. For starters, senior engineers like Loic Serra have joined the team before him, and they could have given a hint or two about what's going to happen in Ferrari, not to mention the fact that the engineers didn't listen to Hamilton's feedback when it mattered the most regarding the zero pod concept, nor did the team listen to him when it came to the 2022's promotion of Russell. Be that as it may, Hamilton will have some time to accommodate to Ferrari machinery, despite Mercedes banning the move right after the Abu Dhabi finale due to a lot of diplomatic duties that he would have to complete with the team, as Fred Vasseur confirmed that the first test would be with the F175. This is the 2022 Challenger, and the one that turned out to be quite a great one before the upgrade started downgrading the performance of the car. And when talking about it, the Frenchman said, "I'm not sure that Hamilton needs tons of hours of acclimatization. He's experienced enough to be quick on the first day, or at least very soon. We'll have 1 or 2 testing of previous cars' days, plus the test in Bahrain, and that'll be enough. For sure, we have part of the team already focusing on 2025, on the test plan, on the communication, and so with Lewis being part of this, but not on the race team. That's not on my mind." So with everything considered, is there an opportunity in which Ferrari might have made the wrong move by signing Hamilton? And is the age of the Brit something that will hinder him in the quest of winning the 8th record-breaking championship? Let us know in the comments down below.